Before we get into today's program, there's an important opportunity I want to share with you over these next couple of minutes. The semi-annual Big 5 Lab Bundle sale happening now through next Sunday. Taking control of your health has never been easier, and saving $1,000 in this huge semi-annual event for the Big 5 Functional Medicine Lab Bundle is a win-win. These are the exact top 5 lab tests I recommend to every new wellness client in our integrative health practice that are ready to stop the guessing and finally take a comprehensive deep dive into their overall health and well-being. Each of these labs offers a unique perspective of assessing the body and how certain underlying imbalances may be holding you back from achieving your optimal level of health and vitality. By running the Big 5 Functional Medicine lab tests, you will have the ability to actually discover what your deficiencies and toxicities are. And from there, you can then build your body back up while ridding it of toxins that are stealing your energy and performance and having you feeling less than your best. The Big 5 consists of the Minerals and Metals test, the complete Candida Metabolic and Vitamins test, the IgG Food Sensitivity test, the Omega-3 and Inflammation test, and the complete Stress, Mood, and Metabolism test. Each of these state-of-the-art labs were specifically chosen for ease of use. That means I can mail these labs directly to you and they can be completed by you right at home. And that translates to better compliance, faster results, and happier, healthier clients. Plus, included in this big money-saving package, you'll receive a coaching call with a certified integrative health practitioner to review your lab results. This is the time of year that I personally run my own Big 5 labs to stay on track with my energy and performance. It's time to stop guessing and finally take back control of your health and body. This opportunity for big savings on the Big 5 won't happen again until next year, so get started with the link in the show notes before the offer expires. Now enjoy the show. When it comes to failing to achieve your personal or business goals, changing your behavior is not the solution. You see, most entrepreneurs know the recurring frustration of having a vision of what you want in life or business, getting close to it, and then bam! You find yourself right back to where you started. And it's really expensive to repeat that pattern. And the reason is this. You see, the truth is you're not back to where you started. You are back further because time has gone by, which means you're even further from where you want to be. So I'm going to be completely honest here. Maybe it's you. Sometimes finding the root cause of that boundary can be a bitter pill to swallow. The relief, however, comes with working the process and breaking boundaries. Hello, I'm Jeffrey Mort. If you're like most entrepreneurs, you're busy taking care of business, yet who's taking care of you? As a certified integrative health practitioner and consulting hypnotist, I'm widely considered a leader for naturally improving energy and performance, as I've coached world-renowned entrepreneurs and athletes to higher performance health and unstoppable confidence. Here you'll find no wasted time as we distill my unique blend of functional medicine, ancient wisdom, and subconscious reprogramming into actionable steps to create ultra-healthy and laser-focused super achievers. If you're ready to take your energy and performance to the next level in your life and your business, then this podcast is for you. Because today, you're going to start breaking boundaries of your mind, body, and business with integrative health. And when you do that, your possibilities are limitless. I'm grateful you're here. Welcome to the Breaking Boundary Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Mort, and today I'd like this episode to be like you and I are just sitting together, having coffee, and a real casual conversation about why you may not be getting the results you want. And before we get started, be sure to stay to the end, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Maybe this scenario sounds familiar to you. You consider yourself an entrepreneur. You have a good idea. No, you have a great idea. Maybe it's to start a new business. Maybe it's to create a new signature program for your existing business. Maybe it's to start a podcast like this, reach out to a potential client or a partner, maybe do some solid prospecting in a new group, hire some help, perhaps. Maybe it's give a world-class presentation or post a video or maybe just simply go live on social media. You get the idea. But you procrastinate, you get distracted, you put it off, you make excuses. Maybe you blame others. Maybe you blame the dog. Maybe even blame your kids for taking up all of your time. Ouch. So this behavior reflects in your work, reflects in your performance, reflects in your productivity, in your dreams coming true. It reflects in your bottom line and ultimately in your self-confidence as an entrepreneur because you're not getting the results that you want. And then what happens? Self-doubt sets in. You mentally beat yourself up. This affects your mood. It affects your energy. It affects your relationships. It affects your sleep and ultimately your health too. And this is all synonymous with self-sabotaging behavior. And it can cycle over and over and over again. So thankfully, this is the boundary that we're breaking today. So what's the plan? Well, there's always an underlying root cause of the problem or the pattern or the symptom, if we're talking about health or, the behavior or the boundary, etc. You get the idea. And, some of these, problems, patterns, symptoms, behaviors, they can be things like having low self-esteem, low self-worth, maybe, no self-love at all. There could be bad habits. And I don't like to categorize things as good or bad, but habits that don't serve you well, such as excessive and uncontrolled drinking or smoking or vaping or, unhealthy eating, maybe even turning to drugs and narcotics, things like that. Could be cognitive dissonance, which is having inconsistent or conflicting thoughts. Could be fear or discomfort of change. It could be a need of being in control all the time. So many people wear that control freak badge with honor, and I think it's a good, healthy thing. We'll talk about that in a moment. It could be contentment for where you are in life. Could be a fear of failure. Could even be a fear of success, which is just as common as a fear of failure. Most people don't get started because they're afraid of failing, and some people don't get started because they're afraid of, what if I do become successful? It could be a fear of judgment, could be familiarity of failure. Some people can even become addicted to failure, and I'll talk about why. It could be social or peer pressure. And how do I know this? Because candidly, I experienced all of these at one time or another. And I could talk about each one of those and how it affected me, but this certainly wouldn't be a 20-minute podcast episode. It would go on and on for hours, maybe even days. And we don't have time for that. So I'm summarizing here. Maybe, as you listen to the Breaking Boundaries podcast, of course, I'm going to share little bits and pieces of my story. I certainly don't intend to do a podcast specifically on my backstory and all of that. Unless you're interested in that, then let me know. But little bits and pieces of my trials and tribulations as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, and in relationships and all kinds of things. I can share little bits and pieces of that. But anyways, back to today's podcast. How is this a boundary? These unhealthy behaviors, things like procrastination, things like making excuses, things like reprioritization, also known as getting distracted, right? Are you setting out to complete a task and then you're getting distracted by looking at your email or going on social media or, I got to go do this before I do that, or being disorganized. Perfectionism is a huge behavior that holds people back. Controlling, again, we talked about that earlier, but controlling, or defensiveness, always being on the defensive for other people's feedback. And these are all fear-based behaviors. Every single one of those is fear-based. And you're probably wondering, why does this happen to me? You can resonate with it. You're wondering, why does this happen to me? Well, the reason is this. The brain is designed for safety and survival. It loves predictability. And it's also designed for efficiency as well. The brain is a master at conning you out of anything new, anything unfamiliar, and anything out of your usual habits. In NLP and psychology, this behavior is known as secondary gain, which is subconsciously driven behavior for the gain of a benefit, such as staying in the known, the predictable, and what the brain deems safe and familiar, so that you can survive another day. That's how the brain is wired. Now, I want you to take a deep breath. And if you're not driving, close your eyes and let all of that go. Let all of that go. And I want you to imagine life without that problem. Imagine you're productive and efficient. Imagine that you're laser focused and you're clear on what you want. Imagine having clarity on how to get what you want. Imagine that you're accepting and you're allowing and you're at peace with where you are. Imagine that circumstances no longer matter. Imagine that you stay out of your own way. Imagine you're ready to be committed to what you want. Imagine that you're unattached to the outcome. Imagine that life and business are both fun all the time. Imagine that you're taking responsibility for your results. Imagine that you're happy, that you feel good, that you look good, and that you're healthy. Imagine that relationships are fun, they're spontaneous, and they're exciting again. Imagine that you're sleeping well. Everything becomes easier. Everything just flows. Everything is now possible for you. You've become unstoppable. Now, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel refreshing? Doesn't that feel within reach because we shifted your energy for just 60 seconds? We just shifted your energy for 60 seconds. And if you want, you can pause this, you can go back and listen to that, and you can just imagine some more. Because the more you do that, the more you build that repetition into your subconscious. We'll talk about that in a minute. So in a moment, you're about to discover how to break that boundary. But just to recap, I want you to know that you're not alone. Self-sabotage is usually the root cause for your undesired outcome. And I'll tell you what, we all have that to some effect in our lives because it takes effort to overcome that. And we're going to talk about that too. And just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. So ourselves is really the first place that we look for why we're not getting the results that we want. Self-sabotage is a mechanism for safety and survival from the oldest reptilian part of the brain. It's seated in the basal ganglia, if you really want to know where that reptilian part of the brain is. I mean, there's not a lizard in your head or anything like that, but it's known as lizard brain or reptilian brain because it's the oldest part of the brain that helped us to survive. And then our brains developed and grew, but that part is seated in the basal ganglia, deep in the brain. And these behaviors are driven by your thoughts, your feelings, and beliefs. And your thoughts and your feelings and beliefs create your habits. And habits are what create your subconscious identity, which ultimately controls your attitude, your decisions, and your actions. Your subconscious identity cannot be outperformed, but it can be reprogrammed. And that's a fantastic thing. That is a wonderful thing. And I'm going to give you the 3 steps to be able to break that boundary in just a minute. I mentioned that your subconscious identity ultimately controls your attitude, your decisions, and your actions. And that is the reason why I started off by saying that changing your behavior will not change your results. Because if you're just changing your decisions and your actions, you're working outside of yourself and you're doing, you're not being, right? So you want to change your subconscious identity. You want to change your identity at a subconscious level. I don't mean change your identity like go down to the RMV and fill out a form and you change your name. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about who you are at your core and the things that you've been programmed with. Like you are a collection of programs that were obtained in your life from, say, 0 to 7 years old, when your brain was in what's called a theta brainwave state. I don't want to go too deep into that. But the fact that you're still listening means that you want the 3 steps to breaking this boundary. So I'll give them to you right here. And I want you to remember air, like the air that you breathe, AIR. And the first step is awareness. That's the A in air. Awareness of what? Awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your feelings, awareness of your beliefs, awareness of your habits. Right? You are not your thoughts. You have total control over your thoughts. And once you have awareness of your thoughts, you begin to take control of your life and the results that you're going to get. Because if you can control your thoughts, well, that's going to change new feelings. And if you're having new feelings, then those are energy, right? Your feelings are emotions. That's energy in motion. And what that does is that starts to change your beliefs. And when your beliefs are changed, then it's going to change your habits. And your habits then are going to be changing the decisions and your attitude and the actions that you take in life. So that's step number one, having awareness of your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs and your habits. Notice. Number two, you want to interrupt the old programming. You want to interrupt those thoughts, beliefs, and habits that create your identity. You want to first have awareness, like, who am I being? Am I being the type of person? Am I being an entrepreneur? Am I being the type of person who has what I want? And if the answer is no, there's your awareness that you're not acting the way that you should. So you need to change the thoughts. You need to change the beliefs. You need to interrupt. You need to stop those activities, those thoughts, those beliefs, those habits of who you are being. So awareness is the A, interrupt is the I. And then the third step is to reprogram yourself at the core, at the identity level. And how do you do that? You create new beliefs. You create new thoughts. It starts with the thoughts. Your thoughts create your feelings create your beliefs create your habits. So you want to create new beliefs. You want to create new habits, and you want to repeat those thoughts and beliefs and habits, and put that into repetition of who you want to be. So that's the AIR model, AIR model. Awareness, interrupt the old programming, and then reprogram yourself at the identity level. And once you start doing that through repetition, then you're going to notice changes. You're going to notice changes around you. You're going to notice changes in your business. You're going to notice changes in the outcome. Some of them might be immediate. You might get, family members, or, your children or your spouse, your partner, business clients. You might get business partners that, if you have business partners, that notice changes in you. So be aware. And the awareness goes back to be aware of the comments that you get back. Sometimes I remember when I first did this, I got a lot of comments from people that had known me for a long time, and they would say, "Who are you? You've changed." And I wouldn't take that as a negative, right? That is going back to the defensiveness. I would appreciate that because I was doing a lot of the internal work, and I appreciated that other people were noticing the change. Whether they thought it was good or not, it didn't matter. What other people think of you is none of your effing business. Remember that one too. So I would appreciate that. And my reply to them when they would say, and I can tell by the tone of their voice that they didn't like who I was becoming, but I would say, thank you. Thank you so much for noticing, and I appreciate that. And they would kind of look at me sideways because they weren't giving me a compliment. However, that's neither here nor there. So what I want you to do here is take the next step and put this into practice. Awareness, interrupt the old programming, and start to reprogram yourself. And, if you want help with that, this is only part of how we help entrepreneurs just like you break boundaries of self-doubt, lack of confidence, self-love, self-esteem, worthiness. That's a big one for a lot of people, that they just subconsciously, they don't feel worthy of success. They don't feel worthy of breaking the boundaries. And self-sabotaging behaviors, of course. And we use our unique neurotrust method. Trust is an acronym for Transformational Reprogramming for Unlimited Success Technique. That's right. It is a specific technique that is used to help people overcome their boundaries and create new beliefs and new habits and change their core identity of who they want to become. And it literally rewires neural pathways. I don't know if you know this about me. Some of you that came from my previous podcast know that I spent many years as a master electrician in the construction industry. So this is, I went from wiring buildings to rewiring neural pathways so that people could live the life that they want. So this neurotrust method, it literally rewires neural pathways so that you can have what you want in life. I want you to have what you want in life, and I can help you get there. Most people want to learn more before getting started, so I encourage you to check out our page over at www.loveenergywellness.com/ Neurotrust, Neurotrust. And over there's the frequently asked question page as well. If you can't remember that URL, just go to either loveenergywellness.com or jeffreymort.com, and you can check out the programs on the page there. And that will bring you to the Neurotrust page as well. If you're the kind of person that values your time and you want to stop wasting money and finally make that impact that you want to make in your business, then your next step is obvious. It's to schedule a completely complimentary consultation with the Neurotrust method so that we can continue this conversation and get you that breath of fresh air that you need. I am completely grateful for you being here, for letting me talk with you today on this podcast. We have so much in the pipeline here. We're just getting started here with these episodes. So I appreciate you. If you want to implement repetition, go back and listen to this again. And if you know anybody that could benefit from this, please share it with them. I appreciate you having this conversation with me today, and I will see you next time to break more boundaries. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Before we say goodbye, you may not have realized it, but you can get free daily access to our thriving Love Energy Wellness community and support group where you'll join health-conscious entrepreneurs just like you. I know you're concerned about your health, energy, and performance. That's why I personally answer your questions daily, invite you to our weekly live calls, and share pro-wellness tips for energy and performance and exclusive offers just for our community members. This is also your support hub when we gather every 90 days for a total body and mind reset, also known as the world-renowned Dr. Cabral Functional Medicine Detox Protocol. You're going to love the way you feel every time. So if you're the kind of entrepreneur that values your health as your greatest asset, naturally you'll want to join and invite your friends, your family, and your colleagues to our community where you'll feel loved, supported, seen, and heard. Visit loveenergywellness.com to join the community, or the link is also right here in today's show notes. I'll see you soon.